29 Minecraft things you might be doing wrong. In Minecraft, there's plenty of different ways to solve your problem, which means that sometimes you might be doing the least effective option without even knowing it. So today, let's fix that and solve the Minecraft everyday activities that you've been doing wrong. And hey, the YouTube zombie bet me that it's impossible to subscribe to the channel before they turn back into a villager. So to prove them wrong, cure that red sub button down below. It's free and it helps out a ton. Number 1. You see, if you've got a smelting setup where you're smelting more than a stack of items at a time, probably through use of a hopper, then it turns out that crafting 9 coal into a block of coal will actually give you more burning power than just using 9 coal separately. You see, when you craft it into a block, now it does the equivalent of 10 coal smelts. Meaning that for big smelting jobs, it's the way to go. But if you're just doing a few items here and there, then it's really just best to use regular coal split up. Number 2. This is one I'm personally guilty of, and lately I've been trying to cut back. You see, even though chests are a staple of Minecraft storage, as it turns out, in most cases, they might not be the best option. As it stands, most of the time, barrels are just a much better option to use. They're more efficient for resources, and more importantly, they're gonna save you from a ton of lag down the road. Basically, whenever possible, chuck out the chest and just stick to barrels for your options. Number 3. Zombie gold farms are a huge help to have in Minecraft survival. But while the rest of the items that you get are easy to sort, you are going to get a lot of golden swords coming up into your chests. And after your first double chest full of broken golden swords, you're probably just wanting to trash the things. But not too fast, because it actually turns out that you can smelt the golden sword and get an extra nugget out of it. And sure enough, after a while, that extra gold is going to add up. Number 4. Everyone knows that when you start up a new world, the wooden tools that you make at the beginning are quickly going to be outclassed. And while that's to be expected, you shouldn't just throw away those duds as soon as they're done for. You see, when you're starting out, any resources that you have are a hot commodity. If you're not using your mostly broken wooden tools to smelt up other things in a furnace, then you're doing it wrong. And plus, it's a bit more of a sentimental send-off than just throwing the things into a ditch. Number 5. When digging a staircase in Minecraft, I think a lot of us tend to think a little too short-term. Because sure, mining a 2-block tall staircase on the way down to the mines is fine, but as soon as you try to get back up that staircase, you're going to hit your head on every single one of those ceiling blocks. You don't have to do anything fancy, just an extra block or two can make it way less painful to go down into your mines. Trust me, your noggin will thank you for it. Number 6. Now I get it, math isn't on any of our priority lists, but sometimes when you manage to crunch the numbers, you can actually save yourself some resources. For example, if you're ever going about just smelting 1 log as fuel, you're doing it wrong. If you just turn that 1 log in a crafting table into 4 planks, now all of a sudden you're doing a 4 times return on what you would normally smelt. And plus, it's just fun to get quadruple the results for minimal effort. Number 7. Nether gold has gained a lot of popularity for its use in piglin bartering. So if you're trying to round up some more cash to make it rain on Porky Pig, then this is definitely the best way to go about it. You see, when you mine nether gold ore with a fortune pickaxe, you're just gonna get a handful of nuggets. Instead, you should always use silk touch on this ore and then smelt the ore down for a single ingot. So you can just trade this directly to the piglins and walk away with your rewards, simple as that. Number 8. Lighting up caves while you're mining is obviously a good idea, but in specific situations, you might be placing your torches wrong. Because obviously, the worst scenario that we want to avoid is that you place your torches on the ground, you go to mine that diamond ore, and all of a sudden, all this water splashes into your face. Just like that, your torches are wiped clean, and now you can't see your way back up to the surface. Rather, if you place your torches on the walls, then you can avoid a lot of that same hassle. Number 9. Look, when you're playing in harder difficulties, then a lot of times spawners seem like more trouble than they're worth. But then the problem becomes after I've gone through all of that, when I want to actually make a farm, I have to go find a new spawner. Even though in the moment it might be a hassle to go in and deactivate one of these spawners on the spot, the EXP and items that you're going to get after the fact definitely make up for it. So in the future, let's just try to think about the long term and maybe use torches for these going forward. Number 10. I'm sure we've all heard from our parents time and time again to pick up after our mess. But who would have thought that advice would be so applicable in Minecraft? As you can see, if you leave around too many items in the ground, especially when you're mining in a cave, then all it takes is just one zombie to walk over, pick up an item, and now it's not going to despawn. This can become quite a large problem if you have this happening over and over again. Maybe just get rid of the item with a flint and steel. Number 11. Now folks, it's a real pain in the brain when you're getting ready to start a big building project, you go and check your chests, and all of a sudden you're coming up short on things like stone and cobble. Now I'll fully admit they're not the most valuable materials in Minecraft. Far from it. but they're almost essential when it comes to these types of builds. So in the future, when you're branch mining or digging through with a Haste 2 beacon, you might want to store a couple of these blocks. Number 12. When building in Minecraft, stairs can be a great item to use to add depth to your bases. So if you're making a lot of them and you're using a crafting table, you're doing it wrong. This one mostly applies to people who've been playing Minecraft since before the stone cutter was added in, because as soon as you see how many blocks this can save you when applicable, there really is no reason not to use this thing. And when you're crafting as many stairs as I do, it really does add up. So I'm glad to take my discounts when I can. Number 13. When you're getting ready to start a big project, most of us like to have little tiny base camps that we can refer back to. Most of the time, there's nothing too complex going on here. We got temporary storage and crafting setups and the like. But a key reminder to everyone who does this, as soon as you're done with the project, remember to take those out. Trust me, nothing quite takes away from the sight of your cool new build like having to see a little toolkit left around. Number 14. Few things in Minecraft are quite as much of an eyesore as a creeper hole. Look, it happens. Sometimes when you're fighting that creeper, it's just gotta explode. But even though that's a completely understandable mistake, you don't need to go leaving around the evidence everywhere. Everyone who's played on a multiplayer server knows one person who doesn't take the time to fill in creeper holes, or worse, doesn't even fill them in correctly. Just clean up the job and don't let the creepers get the best of your world. Number 15. Villages can be one of the most helpful resources in Minecraft, which is all the more reason that you should never be hanging around one without sleeping. I don't care if most of the time it turns out alright, because every time that you hit midnight, you have a 10% chance of spawning a zombie siege. And folks, it only takes one of those to completely ruin your population. Really, let's be honest, there's beds everywhere in a village. If you're not using one of those to sleep, then you just gotta get out of town. Number 16. When you first start up at Minecraft World, it's not hard to find trees as far as the eye can see. And while that feeling might make you think that you can get away with taking out a couple of them without replanting, it only takes a few repeats of that process before your base starts to look barren. Which is why, obviously, the best way to go about it is to be your team tree's self and replant every single tree that you chop down. And best yet, this is sure to keep you on Mother Nature's good side. Number 17. When you start trying to work your way through the villager trading market, then you definitely gotta be looking out for this. Because sure, it's definitely cool to reroll your villager constantly to try and get the best one. But if you don't convert the villager to a zombie and then change it back right after, then you're just wasting some good trades. If you're not looking to get the hero of the village effect all the time, this is definitely a way to save a couple of your emeralds on your next book. Number 18. You see, while it is possible to shear a white sheep and then take its wool with a dye in the crafting table to craft a new colored wool, for that same one dye, you could change the wool color of another sheep, and now every single shear that you do is going to give you that new wool. All it takes is one round of shearing and you're already saving yourself some dye. Which, if you're not exactly full up on magenta or whatever, is definitely a helpful cause. Number 19. While most players know to use critical hits in PvP, they still can do a fair amount of damage when you're doing it just against mobs. For example, take this pillager mob. If we use a netherite sword normally, we can kill the thing in 3 hits. But if we use critical stabs instead, then we're getting the job done in 2. Just like that, you'll be saving yourself time and durability, which are both things I think we'd all love to have. Number 20. Laying out a redstone contraption can be tough work, and nothing kills the pride of putting in all that hard work just to have it be broken because you placed it on a regular ground block. You see, if you're doing your redstone on a naturally occurring block, then it's just going to be a recipe for confusion. So instead, just color code your contraption, which in turn makes the redstone even easier to fix, as now you can just look at one part instead of the whole thing. Number 21. Brewing up potions can sometimes feel like a chore. However, there are some situations where you just gotta bring one of these pals along. For example, if you're someone who in the overworld always carries around a water bucket in their hotbar, then when you go to the nether, you should always change that out for a fire resistance potion. Knowing what potion to bring and when can be a huge help when you're going around your Minecraft world. And more importantly so, it can get you out of danger when you need to. Number 22. Potions of harming can do some real damage, but if you're making your set with a potion of healing, you might want to reconsider. You see, this potion can be brewed from either a potion of healing or one of poison. And if we compare the ingredients, the gold necessary for the glistering melon is much more useful elsewhere than the spider eye alternative. Since spider eyes are only useful for brewing, I think you'll be much happier to make your death potions this way and save those gold doubloons for a better investment. Number 23. When you're playing Minecraft long enough, then misclicks are sure to happen. And while most of the time they're just no harm, no foul, if you're holding around an axe all the time, then you could cause some damage. I have a bad habit of doing this every time I try to open up a door with an axe. I'll always just hit the logs that are on either side of it. So to save yourself from this kind of embarrassing mistake in the future, just go around your world holding some other tool in your hand. And then you can just save your axe for when it's actually useful. Number 24. Fishing in Minecraft is a pastime that's sure to take a while. So if you're looking to save yourself some of that tedium, then you should never be fishing in a spot that doesn't allow for the rain bonus. As some of you might know, if you actually fish in a spot while it's raining in open air, then you're actually able to get a bit of extra points when you're fishing. So really, if you find yourself constantly casting a line down in the dark, then you should take your fishing rod, move it up into the open air, and expect to reap the rewards. Number 25. Every now and then, you run a little low on a resource like clay, and now you gotta go dig at the bottom of a lake. And even though the amount that you need might be pretty small, you should never be digging underwater without an air pocket, or aqua affinity. Mining while you're submerged takes 5 times longer than doing it regularly, which is a significant difference, and if you're mining multiple blocks at a time, it really adds up fast. So if you don't have enough levels for aqua affinity, then at the very least, plot out the time to give yourself an air pocket. Number 26. The way that leveling up in Minecraft works is that it takes progressively more and more EXP to get to the next level. That's why, folks, there's very little reason to ever go too far past level 30. For one, like we said, a lot of that new XP is getting wasted the higher and higher that you're going. But it also means that after you die, you could lose all of those levels for nothing. And since Minecraft anvils have a level limit, then it seems like even Mojang doesn't want you to go too high over that cap. Just hit level 30 and cash out. Number 27. Stockpiling the Eyes of Ender to both find and fix the end portal is a lot of work. And it'll definitely turn your day sour if you finally find that portal and you don't have enough eyes to actually fill it up. Which is why, folks, when you're on the search for the portal, you should never be constantly using the Eyes of Ender. Each time that you're casting one of those out, you're just rolling the dice that it's gonna break. Just stick to minimalism, and that'll really be all you need. Number 28. Whenever you're maxing out your Power 5 bow, there's always a question of which enchantment you want to add, Mending or Infinity. Since the two are mutually exclusive, you gotta choose one of them. But to be honest, if you're choosing Mending, then I really think you're doing it wrong. It's just a simple numbers game, folks. When you look at the resources that you're saving, a Mending bow only saves so much on string than the Infinity bow saves on arrows. So for what it's worth, just stick to the Infinity enchantment. Number 29. Nothing adds to the panic of dying in Minecraft quite like seeing this show up on your screen. So to prevent that, even though it might look nice to have your bed decorated like this, you really shouldn't build any blocks that could obstruct you from spawning. And if you're playing in older versions such as 1.12 and before, then you really gotta watch out for this sort of change. All it takes is just a bit of glass or a snow golem around your bed to mean that you'll never respawn there again. And with that, folks, stumble into that red sub button below and have a good one, alright?